Grande is from Florida. She's a singer, songwriter, and actress. Her career started in 2008 and it's still going. She's had 6 albums. And in that time, she's been critically acclaimed and hugely successful commercially. One of the most famous things about her was that it was she who did a concert in Manchester in 2017, after which the Manchester Arena bomber struck. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was the 4th album by Ariana Grande. It's the first listen from me. I don't think I've listened to this album before. I maybe recognised a couple of the tracks that had been on the radio. But I do know of Ariana Grande. In fact, I reviewed one of her other albums earlier in the series. So this is described as being, I'm going to describe it as being a mixture of various things in a kind of particular area. So R&B, pop, and trap. Yes, that term is one that I'm only learning as I'm starting to do these reviews. But it's a term that's used for particular kind of R&B stuff that features fast bursts of tinny drum machine and deep sweeping bass. And there's kind of elements of this in a lot of post-millennial pop, I would say, although proper trap I think is more extreme in this. This is kind of mixed in, so there are some tracks that are like that. Some tracks are kind of feel more like hip hop. So there's a track that's got Nicki Minaj doing a bit of a rap on it, which feels more like a hip hop track. There's shades of soul and gospel and even funk in here. There's one song that just really struck me because it had a proper chord sequence, and it felt more like a soul chord sequence in there. So it's kind of somewhere in the R&B and pop and a few of those kind of things area. It's not as disjointed, I felt, as some of the modern R&B pop that I find I tend to not like very much. But I think it is telling that in the credits for this there are far more producers and technicians than there are musicians. It's fairly empty at times, but not always. The thing that is very prevalent is vocal harmonies, which again is a feature of this kind of R&B stuff. Most of the rest of the sounds, apart from the kind of drum machine sounds, are keys. Kind of electronic sounds, and fairly obviously, if they're sampled, they're kind of slightly fake in the way they present themselves. There are as well a few speech samples that are brought in here. Again, that gives it more of a hip hop feel when we've got that. There are some faster tracks, there are some slower tracks, and this feels like a really obvious thing to say. One thing I felt was that there were some what I felt were decent grooves, so I have no idea how to quantify what I think of as a good groove compared with other grooves, but there are grooves that I enjoy, and there were some that I kind of mildly enjoyed on here. I think that one thing that was this kind of downside is that there were bits, particularly when there were the use of some of the samples. There's some times with these kind of speech samples where it's used every 2 bars for a whole track, and it's just a bit relentless on that, and it's a bit repetitive at times. Her voice, she's got a really nice voice. There's no obvious auto-tune in here. I know auto-tune's getting better and it's more subtle, but there is this particular style of auto-tune, which is the really obvious auto-tune that I really hate. So there's not that. I really kind of respect her singing in here. And the subject matter is mildly interesting. It's not, I didn't feel it was deep. I thought there was a little bit of depth to it, more than some pop has. So again, that was decent. There are some guests. I've already mentioned Nicki Minaj, who is one of my favourite people in the world. No, Pharrell Williams, who gets everywhere. Every person who's got an R&B album in the last 20 years seems to have had Pharrell Williams involved. And there's Missy Elliott on here as well. Overall, my feeling is that for something that has got these style names attached to it, it's actually, I found it quite accessible and fairly enjoyed it. And I think I did a quick flick back at my previous Ariana Grande review, and I felt very much the same about that for a different album. That actually, for music that's kind of modern R&B, is not bad. It's not quite pushing up above the 7, which would be the point where I say I would actually go out and, well, not go out and buy it, but I'd actually deliberately put this back on to listen to. So, it's all right. What do you think? Please talk to me through the comments box. That's it from me for now.